What's up, everybody? I am comedian impressionist Marcus, and welcome back to First Impressions, where each time I'm going to quickly break down a different impression and teach you how to try doing voices for yourself. And in this episode, we're going to break down one of my favorite voices and maybe the coolest impression you can do, the always laid-back leading man, Matthew McConaughey. All right.
All right.
Now, just like Walken and De Niro, there are a lot of McConaughey impressions out there. Cue clips.
The Oscar goes to Matthew McConaughey.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, this is just this is something else. This is stellar. This is interstellar.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're like a really cool Obi-Wan who's just like, look within yourself and then come over to my place. Well, bongo, I don't
I'd sure like to say thank you to everybody here.
Come on, Hudson. Let's go, baby.
Intentionality with the football, passing it down the line. It's a great game, great invitation of the world.
Why don't you step outside to my AIR stream? I'll make you a margarita to blow your horns off.
All right. I see a lot of lovely ladies in the house tonight. I like that.
And while a basic McConaughey is essentially another stock impression, it's also more of a broad caricature than a real impression of how he truly sounds. So let's break down a basic McConaughey impression. Now, if you remember from back in episode 1, when we talked about stock impressions, we said that stock impressions were impressions that could be done with just one word, right? We referenced things like Borat or Austin Powers. Another one that comes to mind is like Napoleon Dynamite. Gosh, right? You just have to do one word and people know who you're doing. With McConaughey, it's one word 3 times. All right. That's all you got to do. That's it. That is literally the entire, if you can do all right, you can do a Matthew McConaughey impression. That's good enough at a party for people to go, whoa, look at this guy's McConaughey. Everybody gather around. Look how good this is. Because all you're doing is going, all right. Right? So let's break down where the all right comes from, right? Now, just like with Mark Wahlberg, which we did last time, this is really heavily centered on where he's from. Now, with Mark Wahlberg, it has to have that Boston in there. It has to have a little bit of that accent, right? De Niro, same thing. This guy have the New York, a little bit of that in there. So what you're doing is you're kind of locating where they're from, and you're kind of latching on to the accent first. So with McConaughey, he's from Texas, right? And with a basic Texas accent, you're just kind of sitting back into it a little bit of Texas, right? You start kind of having a little bit of that Texas drawl, right? It's a little slower, right? A little bit of this, talks about things. Now, just kind of putting that accent in there, right? You start getting into the McConaughey tone. Now, Matthew McConaughey talks from this part of his mouth a lot. It's like there's a little bit of air right between his front lip and his teeth here on the bottom. So when you listen to him talk, sometimes there's a little bit of breath right there. And he pushes it up and you can hear it, You can't do that, right? He starts talking, he'll get real big. And you can kind of hear that he'll put a little bit of that breath right here between his lip and his teeth. The voice itself, right? Where is it? Square, right in the middle of the mouth. So I pretty much can locate it right above my Adam's apple here. Again, if you don't have that, whatever fruit is in your throat, just, from right above there. And it's kind of a flat sound, right across here. That's the noise. And then it curves up along the jaw and into this, right there, right? We're going to keep it right in the jaw. We're going to speak from there. We're going to kind of push almost like we're talking with our front teeth forward. And that's kind of then we really lean into the McConaughey mannerisms, right? He's smooth, right? He says certain things. He's cool, man, right? He'll hold words out. Livin, man, just keep living, right? That's what he does. He just kind of goes with the flow. So there's also kind of this almost like beach bum, kind of hippie all right, man. Yeah, I'm just chilling, man. All right, cool, man. You know, like that kind of a thing where it's just kind of ethereal and goes with the flow. So when you apply that to the Texas and the front of the mouth, that's kind of basically the entire impression. Now, when it comes to picking our clips this week, how do you even choose? Every movie, TV show, and personal appearance he's ever made is handsome and quotable. Despite being a charming, handsome devil, he's also incredibly versatile and has starred in and excelled at multiple genres of film. That's why he's literally been in a countless amount of my personal favorite films. He started in the 90s in classic films like Dazed and Confused, A Time to Kill, and Contact, before making his way into awesome action movies like Reign of Fire, cool spooky flicks like Frailty, and comedies like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and Tropic Thunder. And finally, finding an almost permanent home at award ceremonies with his work in projects like True Detective and Magic Mike, Dallas Buyers Club, Interstellar, and Wolf of Wall Street.
Come on.
And while there are millions of classic McConaughey moments out there, Stone Naked Bongos, I'm looking at you. I really wish we had footage of that one. I really want to focus on the moments when Matthew is being the most McConaughey he can. Now, when it comes to McConaughey's film career, there is literally one and only one place to start, right? The movie that not only introduced us to Matthew McConaughey, but immortalized him in the laid-back, stoner, cool guy persona that he has literally lived in for the rest of his career, for the most part. And that is, of course, the 90s hit, still to this day, a movie that I can watch anytime it's on, Dazed and Confused. Let's take a look.
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did. Say, you need a ride?
No, I got my own car, thanks.
Yeah, well, listen, you ought to ditch the geeks you're in the car with now and get in with us, but that's all right. We'll worry about that later. I will see you there, all right?
Bye.
I love those redheads, man.
I know you.
Say, you're a freshman, right?
Yeah.
All right, so tell me, man, how's this year's crop of freshman chicks looking?
What, you're gonna end up in jail sometime really soon, I know that. Fact.
No, man.
Yeah.
No, man, I tell you.
Yeah.
That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
Yes, they do. Go.
Yes, they do.
I mean, the thing is that Matthew McConaughey is not even the main character in this movie. He's in it for like a total of, I don't know the exact amount, maybe 10 minutes of the whole movie, but he is what you remember. These lines, that line right there. That's what I love about them high school girls, man. I keep getting older and they stay the same age, right? That is McConaughey personified right there. There's no better place for you to start. There's no better source material for you to get your McConaughey right than Dazed and Confused. If you've never seen it, what? And if you have seen it before, why aren't you watching it again right now? Oh, right, because you're watching this video. But right after this, put it on, will ya? So Matthew McConaughey has gone through a few phases in his career, right? Started off in the beginning, and he did whatever he could. Dazed and Confused really kind of launched him into stardom. And then he got into this period in his career where he almost got pigeonholed into doing nothing more than romantic comedies for the rest of his career, right? He was in like Failure to Launch, Sahara, Fool's Gold, all these movies I can just think of off the top of my head that weren't very good, that were all kind of like him being the heartthrob, the other, what was the other one with the, with Jennifer Lopez, like Maid of Honor, Maid to Order, Maid of Manhattan. I don't know. There was like another one of those where it was like in with her, right? And there was all those movies. They were all interchangeable. Where it was Matthew McConaughey and some actress, and they were going, oh boy, they're gonna fall in love by the end. And not all of them were great, but one of them was phenomenal, and it's still one of the favorite movies to watch around our house. We could probably put it on any time. I believe my wife knows every line from this movie, and I'm pretty good at about 95% of them myself. So let's take a look at a clip from one of our favorite films, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
You can't name my member Princess Sophia. It
Yes, I can.
Listen. If you're gonna name my member, all right, you gotta name it something hyper masculine, okay? Something like a Spike, or Butch, or Kroll the Warrior King, but not Princess Sophie.
What did you just say?
A Spike. You know what I mean?
No, after Spike.
Butch.
After Butch.
Kroll the Warrior King.
Kroll the Warrior King, right? This movie is so funny. And it's really because they play off each other. Him and Kate Hudson play off each other so well. And there's so many great lines from this movie. But if you listen to this line here that he says it, Princess Sophia, right? You can really hear that. You got to have something hyper masculine, right? You can hear that he's really breathy in these, right? Something hyper masculine, like Butch or Spike, right? A lot of in there. So this is one of those movies where McConaughey is really leaning into that kind of like, right? He has that whole scene, ladies, frost yourselves, right? Just a little bit of icing, right? And you can almost hear that he's pronouncing and pushing everything to the front of his mouth. So when you have that, make sure that you listen to some of those moments where he really has the ability to put that little bit of breath in that line, make it real nice, real McConaughey-like. Now, McConaughey excels at many different genres of film. Sure, he went through his romantic comedy period, but to get away from that, it was like he did the extreme. He did incredible movies where he was anything but the handsome leading man. He went to great lengths to lose weight, change his appearance, do anything he could to take on roles in movies like Frailty, Dallas Buyers Club, True Detective, that side of McConaughey. And in doing that, we got some really intense and weird and crazy performances out of him. One of my favorites was one where he didn't even have to be in the movie for more than one scene to come in and kind of create a character that was so memorable that, again, in a movie full of memorable characters and actors who did some of their best work, he came in, threw down, maybe 5 minutes, stole the show. Of course, I'm talking about his little, tiny, memorable appearance, almost a cameo, really, in Martin Scorsese's award-winning film, Wolf of Wall Street. Ow! I don't know if there's an actual wolf in it. I haven't seen the whole thing. Let's take a look at a clip.
Number one rule of Wall Street. Nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in circles. Least of all stockbrokers. Right? It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
No, fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
It's so good, right? Like, it's when I think of actors getting small chunks of dialogue, right? He had, like I said, this one scene with DiCaprio, and in that scene, he had a choice to deliver these lines any number of ways, and he chose to go really weird and spacey with it, right? It's a woozy, it's a wazi, right? It doesn't matter. Fugazi, it's woozy, it's wazi. It's just not real. It's fairy dust, right? It doesn't exist, right? Again, breath, right? You can really hear that kind of breathy front teeth S's that he does. It's a woozy, it's a wazi. It doesn't matter. It's fairy dust. It never landed. It's not real, right? And again, he's speaking from right here. It's very restricted. Right? He's not going big. He doesn't have big words and big face, right? It's all here. It's very much in his throat, right? It's a woozy, it's a wazi, it's fairy dust, right? You don't have to go real big to get all of that kind of fun ups and downs and expression with his voice, because it's very contained. What you want to do with it is be able to play, have fun, stop where you want to, move around. Also very kind of musical, right? So have fun with that. Now, finally, I think that perhaps one of McConaughey's more iconic recent moments didn't come from a movie, didn't come from a TV show, but it came from Matthew McConaughey agreeing to just drive a car in a car commercial, right? You guys remember these? All those Lincoln commercials where he would just drive around and ruminate about the universe? That's where McConaughey has kind of gotten to, kind of this weird shaman who's pontificating about the existentialism of the universe and where our place is in all of this, right? All while trying to sell you a Lincoln. Now, let's take a look at the commercial, and then in this same clip, let's take a look at how brilliantly Jim Carrey parodied Matthew McConaughey, did his own version of a Matthew McConaughey impression in a skit from Saturday Night Live. Let's take a look at both.
Sometimes you gotta go back to actually move forward. And I don't mean going back to reminisce or chase ghosts. I mean going back to see where you came from, where you've been, how you got here, see where you're going.
Sometimes you gotta go back to actually move forward. And I don't mean go back and reminisce or chase ghosts. I mean take a big step back. Like go from winning an Oscar to doing a car commercial. Who am I? Why am I here? When I'm done rolling up this booger, should I eat it or throw it out the window?
It's so funny. And it's perfect. Like they made fun of that so well. And as you can hear from Jim Carrey, now Jim Carrey, who can do voices, Jim Carrey has a lot of incredible impressions that he does in his arsenal. Jim Carrey is also a great impression and will be on this show sometime coming up. But, well, not Jim Carrey himself. Hold on, before I move on, let me not say like Jim Carrey is going to come on the show. I'm going to teach you how to do Jim Carrey. If he wants to show up and be part of that, you're more than welcome. Jim, hit me up. I'd love to have you here, bud. I'm not going to say that that wouldn't happen, but I'm just saying that it probably won't because I don't think that he watches this. What I was going to say is that he's not really going for a dead-on McConaughey, right? He's kind of embodying the persona again, right? He's doing the Texas. He's doing that. You can hear him chasing ghosts. He's trying to get the in there, right? So you can kind of see that just by doing the persona, kind of leaning into the caricature of McConaughey, you're able to do a passable impression that was fantastic, right? And again, was a big hit. But when you listen to McConaughey kind of talk in those commercials, he's not really leaning into the how to lose a guy in 10 days kind of cuteness, right? It's a little more restricted. He's just thinking about things, going back, chasing ghosts, right? I'm not saying you got to go back, go all the way back, figure out where you're going, right? He's living in kind of like this really mellow tone where it's just right there, right? Kind of contemplating the universe. So really depends on what Matthew McConaughey you want to do. Do you want to be that dazed and confused, all right, stoner? Do you want to be that little older, little wiser, wondering what everything's all about, McConaughey? Either one is fine. Whatever version of this impression you want to do is okay. And whatever movie clips and quotes you want to go and learn, please do. Like I said, he's got a million great movies, so go back, give them all a watch. And while you're doing that, see if you can't mimic right along with the movie. Have fun. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's what makes something that you're kind of good at into something that you can do every single time and access. And that's what a great impression is, right? It's not something that should take you time to get. It should be something that, you know, like Walken or De Niro or even Matthew McConaughey. You can just find, locate, and do for people. So hopefully you learned a little something today about how to do a Matthew McConaughey impression. Again, remember to like, share, and subscribe because we have so many more episodes coming up with so many more voices left to teach you guys. In fact, I'm super excited about our next one because we're going to take on, well, one of my favorite stoner laughs. Stick around. I am.